Hello, hello, guys. We are live with episode 147 of Shackled City. Hey, there we go. Hi.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi, everybody.
Hola.
Are we prepped for today's game?
I think so.
Nope. I'm just putting some final touches on my sheet. Yeah.
This is fun.
This is why you should die. You don't have to touch your sheet if you die.
True story. True story. This should be good. Okay. All right, lads. Well, we last left off at a kind of a bizarre time, to be honest. Let's go ahead and get a bit of a recap of the events.
All right. Let's see here. Recap of events. We investigated.
You scroll up and roll 20. I'll tell you what the recap is.
Yeah, the recap is chat fucked us.
Well, I mean, they giveth and they taketh, okay? All right, they giveth and they taketh.
Right. Okay. But no, last session we went ahead and began in the Temple of Ouijas.
Okay.
Having just defeated some ground floor door greeters. You know, nothing great. It was kind of like walking into Walmart with a really, really hostile door greeter. Sorry. Watching chat lie their asses off.
What's new?
But after some ground floor investigations, finding out that there was definitely some sketch going on.
All right.
That they're oh god, I'm trying to remember what necessarily was found in the scholar's room going up the stairs.
Anybody can help at all. Remember, this isn't just his interpretation. If you can recall the events or the things discovered, then please jump in.
Oh yes, please help my blonde ass.
We ended up finding the corpse of one of the Stormcloaks.
You did, in fact.
Outside of that, we explored the bottom floor, found out that it was just mostly the sleeping quarters. As we got to the top, that's where we fought the Grey Renders, the Wraith, and
Well, before we actually got to the top, remember, we did come across the bedchamber of, I can't remember her name.
Embril Elustini.
There you go. Very good.
Yeah, Embril Elustini's, and we found a packet of paperwork that hinted there was...
Trial intervention?
No. Let me see if I can't go ahead and pull it back up. I think we actually got a document for it.
There is a document. It's directly in-game. I will drag your token so you can see that. Boom. You're right over the top of it.
Boom. I can't see jack shit.
Go to your token.
There we go. Let's see. Zooming in. But yes, it was a document that was left by one Abzadius?
Abradius.
Abradius.
Yes. Yes, Abradius.
But
and
yes,
we can try to read that as to jog some memories, but as we've discovered, it's a little difficult to read. Just to kind of give everybody an idea, it says, High Priestess. As many have heard me say, the cages alone will not afford the completion
of the ritual.
The cage rites have built a matrix on which to support them. But due to the short-sightedness of others, I've been left out of these discussions. You are my only ally amongst the 13 now. You must warn them that there is more hidden in the soul pillars that could prove of great import to their plans. What more is needed, I cannot say, and so I continue to explore the mysteries of the soul pillars at great peril. Vitris Bale grows ever more restless, and the insanity that lies frozen, and Kazan Kuzal begins to stir. Yet I shall remain here until the end, in hope of unveiling the last of... I can't... Weavers?
Of the Weavers.
Of Weezer.
It's definitely... It's not a Weezer. I think it's the Weavers' hidden... the hidden lore. It's lore. Those two.
Oh, it's lore?
words.
I kept reading Fort. See,
the Weaver's hidden lore.
Chat, this is actually really disgustingly badly written.
It's the font, man. This font is fucked up.
Ain't it, though?
Blame the font.
Still,
But no,
the risk is
obviously-
great. My price has doubled. F a radius.
Yeah, so suffice it to say, sometime in the future, we're going to want to look at some soul pillars. You know, possibly as a retirement home or something like that.
Something.
You know, we'll find out. But once we got to the top of the stairs, we got our asses kicked.
Yeah, it did. And I'm going to
Oh,
drag you
yeah.
back over here. Boom.
Thank you.
Yep.
But yeah,
Confirmed
we got-
F a radius and his penmanship. Right. It's true. All right, so. Yeah, you guys got your asses kicked. By what exactly? I think Ronald already said it was some gray renders. Yep. You guys...
Some gray renders, a ghost,
a dread
or a
wraith. A dread
dread
wraith.
wraith,
Yep.
and an invisible evil cleric.
You're missing one thing. Cort dispatched it quickly.
Mr. Scorpion Tail McShitface.
The
Bone
Bone
Devil.
Devil. Yes. The Bone Devil. Mr.
I guess you
Scorpion
could call it
Tail
that too.
McShitface. That's... Well, you know, whatever
I called it
works
by
for
its
you.
official name, but you know, it's okay.
I
It's
mean,
a scientific term.
It's yeah, it sounds very scientific.
Latin, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, that sounds fair. What? I fucking hate you guys sometimes. All
Just
right.
sometimes.
The fight was basically concluded with the players losing. It was pretty astute, very clear.
I mean,
Lose is a
we didn't
strong
all
term.
die.
Yeah.
No,
I'd call
we
it more of a tie.
no, we very much all died.
Everyone died at least once.
You say potato, I say TPK.
Everyone died at least once, it's true. Some of them nearly died twice. So this is wild. We had a total disintegration of Ulhime. Klaus was just schmammered in the back pretty much repeatedly by various things. What was the killing blow, Klaus? Can you remember?
It was...
No, not the Wraith. It was the big boy, the gray.
Was it a gray render?
Yeah, it was a gray render.
Yeah,
It
because
was a gray render that I went up to and shock and grasped, and then he didn't die. And he
yeah, and then
kind of
you
retaliated a little bit.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, your shocking grasp isn't exactly like a micro tickle anymore. It's a lot of damage.
That's a lot of damage.
Yeah. And then we saw Jakob go down once, courtesy of the Dread Wraith.
No, courtesy mostly of chat, but the Dread Wraith helped.
Well, I mean, I think a lot of your damage that you received was from the Dread Wraith. Right.
Yeah, I was
feel
about to
said
say,
that.
I didn't... Oh, yes. Him and one of the gray renders.
Yeah. Well, the Great Render, like, I don't think he did a whole lot to you. If I'm just being real. I feel like he was just there to help provide that +2 bonus on flank.
Pretty much.
Then we saw Cort go down, blow his Aegis, and then go down again from multiple harms. Multiple harms. And then a Grey Render put him down, which was kind of wild. And Thelsa was hard put down by a number of things. It was Ike, the Grey Render, and another Grey Render, I think.
And I think she got hit with some, like, major harm herself.
Yes, I think, if I can recall, it was Ike's primary prepared spell that he had 2 casts of. If I can just remember what that is. It's like harm, but it doesn't mind that you go past 1 health. Yeah, it's pretty rough, man. Oh, it was... his prepared spell. He also... Oh, it's Destruction.
That was the one.
Destruction, yes.
Yeah,
Destruction.
it pretty much put her down in one shot.
Yeah, and I think what it was that put Cort down was Inflict Serious Wounds.
It was harm. Yeah. Inflict serious wounds is what put me down the second time.
Yeah. Inflict. And when you got back up, he was like, well, this is bullshit.
And then he stepped back and was like, harm! And then took out fucking 150 HP points.
130, actually, 130.
Yeah, because I was still standing, actually.
I will admit, you were the only
Stay a
person
while and listen.
that failed the save that entire time. Yeah. If you would pass it safe, instead of 130, it would have been 65? 60, I think it's 65, yeah.
That was the one that I fucked up on. And then immediately following me fucking that up and also following me slipping on the ice to stop myself from hitting him, then we got the reroll.
Good news! No wild magic today.
Thank fucking God.
That's
I'm not even a caster.
I'm gonna go ahead and throw a few hallelujahs out there.
Perfect. This feels good, man. Okay. The fight was resounded with Ike telling the last Grey Render to devour the corpses, dispose of the bodies.
And an invisible Jakob just kind of one-shotting the Grey Render.
Yeah.
And, collecting what he could of his fallen comrades.
Correct. So, Jakob, I'd start with you. This is primarily, it's coming down to you. Heaven's Wrath is actually subbing in and gifting almost 2 luck rerolls. That puts us at 304, so one more sub, and that's 2 luck rerolls. Mr. Incredible, Sketch Slayer, Cluster Ducky, Zerg Lurkin, Thor Kildzenerik, that's a name. It's Kashmir, Chris Hale, Ratsplat, and Lynch. You guys are officially subs. Welcome to the Bub Club. So, you get a luck reroll. He's looking out for you, man.
Yep. So, if we ever come to the point where we need rolls, I'm golden! But yeah, at this time, Dude Man's gone downstairs. There's a Grey Render dead on the floor. I'm surrounded by dead bodies and a gibbering teenager. What was once my friend and comrade is now a pile of dust a la Thanos style. And a pulsating gemstone. Or, meteorite, rock, whatever. And the old man is now, a firefly just kind of buzzing away over a corpse.
Yeah.
Good times, good times. I'm really debating Jakob just going ahead and being like, fuck this shit, I'm out. Finding a fast horse and leaving Cauldron. But sadly, Ulhime went ahead and instilled in him a sense of purpose and camaraderie. So, of course, he is going to strip the bodies.
Ghost Dakota just got subbed up. That actually puts you into your second luck reroll for the night. So you guys have 2 of them now.
Yay! But using one of the robes, he's going to basically strip the bodies of material wealth. He is... Hey. He's an adventurer at first and foremost. He knows not to leave anything worthwhile behind. And besides which...
dignity.
There may be some truth to that.
Do you know that Cort's alive still?
Yes, he bandaged him.
Okay,
Yes, I saved you from dying.
But you got to remember, Jakob also has 20 strength, so picking up a person and other things is going to be relatively easy for him.
Mm-hmm.
So, you wanted to find some valuables. I'm curious to know, in one arm, over one shoulder, you're going to have Cort. You're not going to have, extra things that you carry with him.
No. Basically, what I'm going to be doing is using one of the robes to strip off their, primary gear. I'm not, stripping armor off. I'm not stripping weapons and everything. I am going to put Cort's sword back on him, but I am going to wrap all of their gear in one of the robes and kind of strap it on as a papoose.
Okay.
I'm going to use one of the lanterns to capture the electrical buzz that was Klaus.
All right.
Because I've heard the rumors that he just body hops. Strange old man that he is.
All right. I would like to investigate that because you have absolutely no idea that a lantern will work. That's not something that would have been well communicated.
I thought they went ahead and told him the story about how he was like in a jar.
Who told you?
Klaus, I believe.
Klaus didn't even realize. He has no recollection of the events. He was just told that. Real question is, did Will tell you as Klaus? Will, did you tell anybody at all that you were held in a lantern at one point via your spark?
I don't think that information ever got disseminated, no. At least not from me. The only other person that would have known, that would have been around.
Stay a while and listen.
Because at the time, you were the only person who was alive. Klaus and Ulhime, Ulhime and Jakob came across you on the road.
Correct.
And
on the way back from Red Gorge.
Yeah, on the way back
from
Red Gorge.
There, and Thelsa wasn't introduced yet. So yeah, no, you're right.
Yeah, because I think in that particular conflict, I think you were the only survivor.
Yeah. So
yeah.
I would be the only one that would know that at this point, and
correct.
I don't think I shared it with any of you. So do with that.
All right, so you never went ahead and told anybody that, because I remember you telling me that you were a teenager and that this was not your body, which was explaining, when you were explaining that you were.
He did explain that he found out that he can body hop. He found out from many body hoppings, but from that point, his body, he was literally shifting from person to person. And now something's very different about this situation.
Right, because now it's got a ripple of darkness going through it.
Yes, it does.
All right, well, on the arcane side of things, he would be aware of what an elemental is. Now, as far as how to transport elementals, you want to go ahead and call that a knowledge arcana roll or just a wisdom roll? Flat wisdom.
Let's see. For what? For trying to transport or trying to discover exactly what to do in the situation?
Well, obviously he's a lightning spark in the air.
Yeah.
So it's pretty clear I don't want to grab whatever this is. That's just a given.
Give me a planes.
Planes?
There's just a justifiable truth with the fact that you don't grab lightning.
Go figure, right?
You don't have to roll for that. That's just...
Maybe you don't.
For Klaus, this would be easy. But for Jakob, I feel like this is an honest life truth. But if you had knowledge planes, it may be able to assist you in this.
All right. Not exactly a great roll.
So propose to me your question, and I can deliver to you whatever answer you've divined via your 17.
Okay. How does one bottle lightning for transport?
If someone would have figured out how to bottle lightning, I imagine there'd be a lot more wealthy people in the world.
Right?
As far as this goes, you don't know. But for what it's worth, you don't think it's going anywhere. It seems to be hovering mostly in the same place, but you're kind of riding an adrenaline rush. You saw death and somehow was able to return back to this living and quell a force before you that just decimated your foes, or decimated your allies. And now you see the rest of them laying in a heap. Give me a perception, please.
I didn't have enough daddy issues.
I would like a perception, please.
Perception. Oh yeah.
Jakob, you actually notice that while the spark with the black twinge seems to hover in the air about 3 or so feet from the ground, you notice that it's slowly moving. And at first, you aren't for certain. But every time you look back, it seems to be closer and closer to the stairwell.
Oh, son of a bitch. I'm going to have to go ahead and somehow get around this thing. Well...
So you take Cort.
Yeah, I take Cort, I throw him over his shoulder, and given that Ulhime has been, ashed, but I do see his gemstone, Jakob is going to take the stone, only because this is what's left of his friend.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And with that, he is tearfully going to throw out a cast of Dimension Door, since he can't, I don't think he's going to spend more than 2 or 3 minutes trying to figure out what to do with Klaus. If it's not immediately apparent that he can use a piece of the available gear, and he's just smart enough not to go ahead and grab lightning, unlike my last character, he's just going to Dimension Door outside to the ground and beat feet towards the Temple of Pelor.
So you wish to Dimension Door just outside of the temple, or where are you trying exactly?
In front of the front doors, basically. He wants to get out onto the street.
Okay. All right, so I'm going to take a moment here to look up Dimension Door. I need to see something. I wish to discern.
No, I don't need line of sight.
No, I know that you do not. Dimension Door. 1 standard action. It requires verbal components. You and touched objects or other touched willing creatures. In an instantaneous duration, there is no saving throw. You are instantly transferred yourself or from your current location to any other spot within range. It's at 400 plus 40 feet per level. You always arrive at exactly the spot desired, whether by simply visualizing the area or by stating direction. After using the spell, you can't take any other actions until your next turn. Okay. Alright, sounds good. So, you cast Dimension Door. And the vision
please tell me I don't rip open a whole Occipitous or something.
The vision that turns before you as you are holding onto your allies and some of their belongings. I would like those details, please. I feel like that's important. You are immediately turned in your door to directly in front of the temple. You can go ahead and move you with your things to just in front of the temple. There you are. You're just outside on Obsidian Avenue. Give me a perception, please.
See, I don't like it when you ask for so many perceptions. Usually that means that I'm missing something major. Main page.
Jakob, where you Dimension Door, you see 2 things. It doesn't really take a lot, but you see 2 things. Just inside of the temple, an open portal still remains that flickers with black wisps like tendrils reaching out from another dimension. A plane has been opened up.
Oh, no.
It remains open. Secondly, no more than 45 feet away from you, moving down the street, away, is an Ike Iverson. He walks in tow with 2 gray-cloaked individuals that are roughly 9 feet tall.
Not even fucking with it. I've got a traumatized, half-dead kid over one shoulder and 3 dead compatriots behind me. I know when I'm outclassed, outgunned, it's time to hit the Temple of Pelor and regroup.
Okay.
I'm in no condition to go ahead and reattempt this. at this point, at this juncture. Then again, fuck. Here, I need to go ahead and... Shit, never mind. He is going to follow.
Oh. So you are going to carry a body over your shoulder and a 40-pound unshaped ore in one hand in a bag, plus various other things. You're going to follow Ike.
I'm not planning to go ahead and like run Ike down. No, my intention is just to get a general idea of where he's going. You know, where he is reporting to, because now I got to go ahead and kind of reshape Jacob's thinking here. This is somebody who he is now, you know, he has lost a friend to. Now he's going to have to think of some kind of vengeance. So he's just going to... the way that he's going, is it going to pass by the Temple of Palor?
No.
No?
No.
Oh, shit, kid. Oh, you're putting me between a rock and a hard place. No, he's going to just follow at a goodly distance.
Okay. All right. Now, I ask, because it matters, are you visibly walking down the street carrying a body over your shoulder? A bleeding body over your shoulder that has been fairly poorly wrapped.
Woo!
Oh, God.
I love being the battered corpse. It's like Skeleton's Klaus army. The Klaus's skeleton army. There we go. Got a Klaus army.
I'm really glad we don't have a Klaus army. That would be fucking awful.
I don't know. The last army that
Klaus
Klaus
army.
raised was, what, a bunch of dead bodies?
Yeah, it was like 6 skeletons.
Yeah, that didn't
I had
work
skeleton
out well.
pallbearers. It's basically what it came down to.
And it's when you carried me through this city as saucy as a shark.
Shit.
Yeah.
Because the
Then
best
Rufus
idea
left the
when you
church.
have a shark person is to carry them through the streets on the backs of skeletons.
Yeah, and because I can't decide, I decided to go ahead and throw it on a 10, break 10 on a wisdom roll. No, Jacob is apparently not wise enough to figure out carrying a near dead body through the city is probably not the best. So yeah, he's visibly walking through the streets of Cauldron with a gibbering, mostly dead teenager slung over his shoulder.
I'll be right back. I'm gonna go pee out all my frustrations for your decision making.
See, this is why every so often I leave this shit up to a dice roll. To go ahead and just battle the indecision.
Honestly, Elusive, I almost model Klaus after Skeletor about 85% of the time. Yeah.
I'm going to blame this on him just being kind of narrow focused at the moment. Because, no, I understand where you're coming from, Karami, but sometimes it's like, I can't, there are two equal options. There is his rage and sense of revenge, and there's just flat, just whether or not this is smart.
Okay. All right. I see that everybody else also went to pee out their frustrations. Okay.
I'm peeing them out right now.
Thank you, Will.
Yeah, there's Will. I got a catheter, bitches.
Oh, man. Just cutting out the middleman.
Where's your shit bucket?
Okay. Jacob,
yeah.
I have to ask.
Well,
Please,
here, how late at night is it?
It's not.
It's not. It's just afternoon.
Yeah, like it's barely 2 p.m.
Okay, yeah.
Oh, it's a beautiful day. We have enough time to stop by the flower store, go to the tavern.
I thought it was
maybe
at
get
night.
an eye patch.
I thought we were late evening.
We can
No,
get you a new shoe to fit your matching legs.
No, if it's afternoon and the streets are crowded, no, he's going to the Temple of Pelor.
Sure.
Even he isn't that stupid.
We could hit up the arcade.
Okay.
Because he has no idea where Jenya is. He doesn't know if she's recovered.
Still recovering from being a burrito.
Right. Her temple is,
Still
her
crusty.
church is still ashes thanks to Dad. The only safe haven, the only refuge I know of is the Temple of Pelor. So yeah,
You can't hurt me. My dad is a demon lord. I don't know why, but that's the vibe I got out of that. The church was burned down by my dad.
Yeah, my father's a demon
will
lord.
hear about this.
And Thelsa actually owns my ass. Quasi.
Okay.
That's not something I needed to know about.
So,
It's not a secret.
Jacob, you begin making your way to the church. You know your way there. It wasn't that long ago. Honestly, it was probably less than an hour since you've been there.
It wasn't that far either.
No, it was not. If you recall, this building casts a shadow over Pelor. That was part of the priest's worries, his concerns. He thought that they were directly out to get him, and with merit. With merit, even. So, lad, Jacob, I'll leave you with that. You decide to make your way to Pelor's, and he discussed the way for you to get into the temple underground. They had a spare holding that was directly cut off, but you could still make your way there, and it was under the protections of Pelor, which is great. What kind of home did he say? What kind of building were you looking at?
Oh, I want to say that it was a storage shed that led into the basements under the Temple of Pelor.
Pretty close, pretty close. It's a little bit larger. It's like, Pelor is not afraid for being in a low wealth area, and just above being a shack, it's basically a vacated building. Once a home. They created a shared space beneath, and they can move from place to place. It's sort of like a parsonage.
Right. Now, my question is, once he gets into the basements of Pelor, I think he mentioned that there was a connecting door that would be locked because they wouldn't be able to get into the temple, but they would be under the protection.
Yes, that's correct. Jacob, I want to explain this to you.
Sure.
You are carrying the body of your ally. You don't walk down the middle of the street, I'm assuming. I'm assuming you kind of lean to eaves and gutters, things that can provide you some kind of protection.
It's not my first time carrying a dead body through a city.
That's horrifying to hear, but I'm okay with that. As you are carrying your ally, this kid, as you keep calling him, through the city, just draped over his shoulder, you feel his blood stain your leather armor. It seems to burrow itself through, which is kind of odd. You can only assume that your armor's been cut several times over, and to be totally fair, it was. It definitely was. Now, as you carry your friend through the streets, wielding this thrumming bag, this borderline potato sack, it hums and palpitates. There's almost a heartbeat-like rhythm that seems to send more audible noise than Cort over shoulder. And as you walk through the streets, getting as many odd and queer looks as you possibly could receive in this situation, something doesn't really seem right. As you move to the Church of Pelor, the door stands open.
Oh, no.
And that's something that you are aware would not happen with the man in charge.
No, because he would have had that door shut, locked, and himself fortified within.
Our boyo's dead, fam.
All right, he would continue into the parsonage because he can't exactly just, he can't just in an alley across the street. No. Alleys across streets tend to be dangerous. Usually there's cult members ready to shank you.
Okay.
But leaving the body, he would go ahead and see about fashioning some kind of covering or cloak out of the robes. Nothing fancy, just quick, dirty, something to go ahead and, throw over himself and hide the blood.
Sure.
But then he would go to the front doors to investigate.
Okay. You drop off the body, you collect some effective robes, and you begin making your way to the Church of Pelor.
Mm-hmm.
How do you move up to this place? Do you just stride right up there, proud, prominent, with your blade out? Or do you...
No, the blade would definitely be sheathed. And on... What he would do is probably linger across the street for 5, possibly 10 minutes, just to see if anybody is going in or out of the Church of Pelor.
Okay.
And then in, a gap of the crowd, he would slip across and inside.
All right. Sounds good. When you begin making your way there, you can see that there is firelight that flickers, which you didn't quite see in the foyer. If you recall, there is a second set of doors that seems to almost welcome people in and gives them an opportunity to relieve their materials, such as weaponry or armor, anything they may have to leave. It's sort of like leave your dirty shoes at the door kind of thing.
Right, a coat closet, basically.
More or less. But as you begin to walk into the building, you can see firelight coming from within inside. Not large, not brazen, but enough. You realize that the second set of doors are open. Well, if the first were open, you know that there's no way that the second set would be open, unless something bad happened. This man was incredibly protective of not only his life, but the church. Jacob, give me a wisdom. D20 plus your Wismod.
Right. In case my dice have been on fire tonight.
Remember, you have 2 luck rerolls if you wanted to use them.
Oh, well, I'll go ahead and use one of them then.
Okay, go for it.
Granted, I don't really have much in the way of wisdom, but even worse. Okay,
nailed it.
Perfect. Your mind wanders to all of the worst places. You have no idea what could potentially happen in the situation. You worry for the priest. You move up to the first set of doors, and you can definitely see that the second is open. Perceptions, please.
Well, only one person can roll, so there you go. 27. Yay, I see shit!
Jacob, you smell blood. It's sort of like someone busting you in the face for the first time or having a bloody nose. You can smell that rich, almost turgid scent.
It's like copper pennies in your mouth. Oh. Shit. Okay. Let's see. What would he do? He'd go ahead and cast invisibility on himself and go to investigate.
Okay. The moment that you cast invisibility on yourself, you begin to hear the footsteps of someone inside. Do you make your way into the open foyer?
Absolutely.
Certainly. The moment that you do, the figure passes by. It's a man. He's wearing robes. Robes to Ouijas. He moves strangely so, not with confidence. His steps are very fast. Addled mumbling. Something drops to the floor. You hear it clang, and then he accidentally boots it. And it's a dagger, with the symbol of Ouijas at the very end. The dagger has been bloodied.
Yes, just taking note of the dagger and the man himself. I'm assuming that his features are hidden, of course. We just see that it is a robe to the Temple of Ouijas.
Correct.
Yeah, he's going to go ahead and try and find the priest.
Sure. The moment that you dip your head just inside, the priest has been stabbed more times than you can count. His eyes are open wide, his mouth wrought in terror. His body has been peppered with multiple stab wounds, as far as you can tell. The figure is walking over to the dagger. He's leaning down.
Oh, so he hasn't, I didn't pass him in the foyer on his way out. He's still in the church itself.
Yes. This job was just done.
Shit.
Figure's now leaning over and grabs the hilt of his dagger.
Yeah, he's going to try and subdue him.
How so?
I would say shock and grasp.
Okay, go for it. Deliver the shocking grasp. Hit his touch.
All right. Hopefully that rolled.
That doesn't sound right. You rolled 1d6?
Yeah, that ain't right at all.
Yeah, I didn't think so.
All right.
How many d6 is it supposed to be?
It's supposed to be 10d6.
Okay, roll 10d6 for me.
All right. Well,
it also didn't even roll a modifier.
Yeah, it didn't roll to actually go ahead and do the touch attack. All right, screw it. Let's go ahead and do this old school.
Yeah, go for it.
All right. So just being a touch attack by hand, this would just be base attack bonus on top of, base attack bonus and strength, right?
Shocking Grasp only it delivers a maximum of 5d6.
Shocking Grasp delivers a max of... Oh, shit. That's right. I forgot to go ahead and state that I was doing Meta Magic. So yeah, we'll do 5d6.
It says it right there in the first sentence. So go ahead and deliver 5d6 for me.
Okay, well...
Let's see if you hit. I believe.
Right, and I'm trying to remember to do a touch attack. It's base attack bonus plus strength.
Yeah, I mean, it's basically the equivalent of a melee attack.
Yeah, save I'm not doing a normal melee attack. That's what I'm confused about.
I believe in you.
9 plus 4, so 13.
You definitely connect. Deliver 5d6.
17.
The moment that you blow Shocking Grasp over this figure, you move up behind, and where do you grab? I'm curious. Do you grab at the nape of the neck? Do you move to try to grapple this figure from behind? How does this work?
Gives him a good football locker room slap on the butt.
Do you just cusp the back of the dome?
No, it would actually be more like lower set of the right side ribs.
Sure. The moment that you manage to connect with the ribs and you deliver the Shocking Grasp, the figure seizes up briefly. You see him shocking, almost like he's being electrocuted, and then his hand moves up and clutches his heart. Or at least that's what it seems, almost like he's stabbing himself. And he falls as you step back, When he falls, the figure's eyes similarly match the priest's, wide open in trepidation and fear. Mouth agape, the eyes overtly roam to you because you've taken a hostile action. Your invisibility falls. He sees that it's you, and you hear one last gasp, and he dies. It's the boy that you just set free from the temple of Ouijas.
Why do you have to be so squishy? Well, I'm definitely going to take just a quick minute to rifle through his pockets, see if I can't find any other identifiers on him to kind of tell who he is.
Nothing. Nothing that is remarkable enough. There seems to be nothing on the figure. You will notice that he actively wears a pendant now, which was probably hidden by his robes. But it is in display of the Temple of Ouijas. It is her symbol. You can only assume that he was familiar to this location, as the priest was questioning of your very means. He knew not of you, or your desires and goals, but this boy seemed to walk in with little concern. Maybe he knew the priest. Maybe he was brainwashed, under some kind of control. Ike has many abilities. You can only assume that he was taken under Ouijas' wing.
He's going to go ahead and take the dagger.
Okay.
And thrust it into the boy's chest.
All right.
And with that done, he is going to go check on the priest himself, verify that he's dead.
Yes.
Again,
he is in
check
fact
over
dead.
his... Oh, yeah. I mean, I'd imagine with that many holes in him, I mean, if it's more than I can count, and I can count pretty high, he is hella dead.
Yes.
But I'm going to see if I can't just go over his person briefly, see if there's something on him that maybe the boy would have killed him over.
Okay. Nothing. Nothing as far as you can tell. There isn't anything that's of value outside of. At his waist, there is a set of keys which remain untampered with. He also has what looks to be dated tattoos on the back of his hands to pay lore. Nothing that really strikes outwardly valuable to you.
Well, my concern is the fact that it's broad daylight, the door's open, and there are likely going to be people coming to investigate what's going on.
Potentially? From your best guess, when you look around, they haven't held an active sermon in a while.
Yeah, but the doors are open.
There are doors open to lots of buildings. Hell, some buildings don't even have doors.
I think he's implying the fact that they've been closed for so long and they're suddenly open, someone might feel like, hey, is this open?
Sure, that's fair.
Yeah, and the last thing I want is somebody poking their nose in. So...
Are you sure you only committed murder?
You know, I would call it justice, but I happen to have a rather skewed sense of that. All right, so I'm going to grab up the keys and see about going to the front door, shutting it, and if possible, locking it.
Okay, go for it. You managed to succeed in just that. You can lock the doors as much as you like. However, you are aware that you've just dropped the body of Cort just in the other building. I didn't assume that you had run downstairs. I don't want to assume that you had done that.
No, he wouldn't. He'd have just put him like in a corner and left him there with all the other gear. But no, at this point...
Put the glowing rock in my arm so I can hug it.
Yeah, I figured that'll go ahead and give you some sense of peace. You know, kind of like a kitten with a claw.
I did want to let everybody know today that right now is primarily Jacob's scene, but everyone will be getting a scene today. I don't want you to think that you're just going to be sitting there idly by, not doing anything all stream. You will actually have some things that will be happening to you and your characters today.
There. I'm okay with
Damn.
this.
That's why I'm trying to go ahead and just skim over the hard details. But no, with the doors locked at this point, I do want to go ahead and explore the church. Basically, his main goal is to see what in the Temple of Halor, that the Temple of Ouijas would specifically be wanting to rush him for. I'm assuming that the boy was welcomed in because he was a member of the congregation, and that he slayed this man for a reason, not just kill that old priest. So yeah, he's going to use the keys to basically look for his offices, so to speak, and go through paperwork similar, to see if he can find anything similar to what was in the Temple of Ouijas.
Okay.
And he is going to take his time doing it now that he's got a locked door behind him.
That's fine. That's fine. With that in mind, I am going to actually hop scenes, and I'm going to move over to Cort.
That works.
Oh boy.
Cort. You find yourself waking. I'm going to need you to turn down your volume on that end, buddy, because I can hear me in your... There we go. You find yourself waking to a thrum. A humming that is akin to a mother's heartbeat. It's soothing and welcoming in a sense. But when your eyes flutter, none of your allies are around. A handful of their belongings lie in a heap on the floor next to your body. You have a wall to your side, which seems to have a half-shattered door, a wall to your back, and then what looks like a series of steps that lie in disrepair. Near you, however, is the bag. It's the bag that Ulhime's been carrying around. He's held it close to his body for some time, but you don't really know its purpose. You don't really even know what's inside of it. But this is where that heartbeat is coming from. This is that thrum that soothes your nerves.
Cort would try to open it up.
Okay.
The bag.
Sure. It's not been knotted. You can just pull open the sack and see what happens to lie inside. The burlap seems to unfold and reveal that there is an ore. It is a raw and unrefined ore. And you've heard Ulhime speaking several times about how he needs to go to an elemental plane. Like he has to go see someone to claim some fire. He needs this fire. Why? He hasn't really said. But it deals with a very particular blacksmith that you've recently become acquainted to.
How much does Cort remember from the events preceding?
You remember attacking and getting attacked. It was fast, right? It was about 25, 26, maybe 30 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
Gray renders, slashing, horrific blackened apparition, just passing blade-like talons through multiple of your party. There was even some kind of almost dead, like crystalline blue devil with a scorpion tail that seemed to nearly plunge at you several times. And then some chanting, a shout, which you're not even sure where it was coming from. An invisible source. It was wreaking havoc on your party, on your friends. The only friends you've had since your past. But as you continue to shift through this bag and you pull this unshaped raw ore from the bag, something sticks out to you immediately. Something that is unsettling. Or shouldn't be so clearly, or at least clearly depict, imagery. It's sort of like a picture book that was kind of bubbled so you can feel what it is, whatever the image is depicting. But you see a face, or what you think is a face, like the upper portion of a forehead, and an eye, an orbital bone, and part of a nose. Or at least
I remember...
you swear that it is. That there's no way it could not be. You're like, wow, that's a fucking face.
Do I recall it from the fight? Because I remember specifically when Ulhime had his face shattering and turned around, and that was a very distinct part. Would I remember that as his facial structure in particular?
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. It looks like Ulhime's face. You can't be for certain. Ulhime had a beard, and he had a lot of hair. And
he wasn't a metal ore on the ground.
This doesn't have hair. There's no eyebrows. There's no eyelashes. It's very alien in construct. But you feel very certain in your core being that it's Ulhime.
Cort, you said it made him warm, right?
It's comforting.
At first, Cort would kind of hold it to his chest. And he would just kind of quietly weep for a bit before eventually kind of wiping away the tears, holding it to his chest, standing up.
As you find yourself clutching onto this unrefined ore, it seems pragmatic almost. You feel relief, a reprieve from the wounds that decorate your body. A sensation that could almost be described as menthol in nature, or mint. This cooling sensation sweeps over you.
Ronald, your soul is like icy hot.
You begin to heal at a rate of 1 point per round. 1 point every 6 seconds. You notice, you can visibly see the wounds on your body begin to stitch themselves closed, leaving behind a scar.
Cort would probably sit there holding it and crying for a while at that point, if it's healing him. Not all the way holding it until he reaches his full HP, obviously, but just kind of... Can I help you, Kat? He's going to basically just kind of hold it to his chest, sitting there, kind of rocking and crying for a bit. Would he remember that Jakob is the one who brought him there, or that he's alive, or does...
No.
This is... No, I woke up, no one's
You don't even
around.
know where you are. You've not seen the inside of this building before or anything.
He'd probably sit there and cry with the ore, rocking back and forth for a while.
The memories come sweeping back. Though your body is on the mend, your mind is in pure tumult.
Yeah.
Describe to me, and for those that are watching at home or on mobile, some of those memories. Tell me about those events that you locked away for so long, that's now just come cavalcading over, just blowing over the top of this wall that you've built up. Tell me about it.
He would immediately recall the scene of stepping over the hill with his master in hand, ready to cheer and be happy over his acceptance into knighthood almost, as he was out doing one of his last missions. And as he crested over the hill, him and his mentor just saw nothing but black smoke and fire, essentially engulfing the entire town in which they lived in.
And curiously enough, what is the name of this town that the young squire and master lived and worked in, where you were training to be a proper knight?
It was the kingdom of King's Keep.
King's Keep. King's Keep. It was a very small, sort of vale of sorts. You know, it wasn't a very large location, but it was defined by one of the local rulers. You were given a knight to this town, and you were passed off as a squire. Your relationship to your master, what was it like?
Pretty much expecting him to always be there throughout any mission. A master who wasn't exactly like a pushover, but would kind of lead you in the right direction. I get fulfilling more of a dad role, if anything.
Sure. And I beg to ask, what happened? What happened next when you went down to that town?
As he had went down, he had reached the gates of the town and had seen multiple bodies just riddling the outskirts of the gate. Several guards, several of the villagers, and people that he would have claimed his friends that he has known for his whole life at that point.
In this moment, your master told you something very important. He said, a raiding party has come to attack your small town. Did you find out whom or what that raiding party was? Was it a band of brigands, highwaymen? Were they monsters that happened to find your veil?
We had only managed to find the boss.
A boss. Depict this figure for me. What did he or she look like?
He was roughly 6'1", wearing kind of a black highwayman outfit with piercing red eyes, with a kind of highwayman bandana over it, as he kind of sat there toying with his sword in his hand, laughing over the fire.
And this was a human?
Yeah, at least what we assume could be a human.
What you assumed was a human. All right. Okay. Sounds good. Well, technically it sounds bad. But these memories pour back onto your mind, and they kind of warp you, Cort. You remember them. You don't know what sparked this. You're not entirely sure what caused this, but they're there now. And as it floods back, so do the emotions. You don't have to say anything. But you're here now. You're alive. Your body is scarred. Your mind is returning back to the state that it was. But you covered up something important. Did your master survive this event?
The last thing Cort would have seen would have been when his master handed him his sword and had told him to run as fast as he could. And that the master would be all right. But beyond that, Cort ran until he eventually lost consciousness.
These thoughts, as they kind of billow out of your mind, and they decorate your person, much like that of a smokestack. You lie there in tears. You clutch on to this ore. You feel the calming sensation of whatever was important to Ulhime at this point. You remain. You even find yourself standing, borderline pacing throughout the building. Nobody's there. You've somehow survived yet another debacle.
As the only survivor.
As the only survivor, as far as you're aware. And that's where we'll leave your character to step on to the next. Ulhime. My friend. Ulhime. When you come to, your body is ushered forward. Someone shoves your naked person from the back, and your body bounds into yet another naked person. You're standing in a line. And as far as the eye can see, this line continues on. And as you peer over your shoulder, past the figure, it's as far as you can see. As far as your eyes will allow you to see. You've been here before, Ulhime. Not here, in this spot, but you've been here before. You see a large arch, a gate of sorts, and a figure dancing above it. This figure looks like a dragon. Large, nearly legless dragon. An icy Lenorm is what you think you might see. And this isn't your first interactions. Ulhime, you stand in line to be judged for Pharasma's Boneyard.
Looking around, do I see the tear that was made before?
You don't. You don't see the tear. In fact, the only thing that outwardly seems different than everything else that is here, which is aside from you standing in this line, is the fact that your arm still seems the same, like it's been armored. But it does exude a radiant glow, a golden glow, much like your eyes do. It's like a beacon. And as such, people turn around. Though they're waiting to be judged in line, even after death, they're eternally curious. You see that this figure, this large, almost Ouroboros individual dragon, the Lenorm, whips around, and then its head stops, looking directly at you. Its eyes cutting through like blades. Swaths pour down over the top of you, and you feel its icy gaze singling you out in the crowd.
I'll step out of the line.
Others go to stop you, but the moment they try to, their hands seem to strike a wall. But not you, Ulhime. You are the only person that has likely ever stepped out of line in the history of the Boneyard. Others look onward like dogs at the glass at a pet store, waiting like mimes to be found, to be loved again. But you step out freely. Some of them are concerned, others depressed, some of them vehemently angry. Spittle decorates this makeshift wall that they can transparently see through. What makes you so special? Why, Ulhime? Why? You're met with a voice, Ulhime, as you look back at all of these figures, and their gazes fall flat. Those that were full of emotion previously are now decorated with nothing. They look like fish. Their eyes fall down, and they move back into line, and they take a step forward. And the voice, just over shoulder. Ulhime. Well, I must admit I didn't expect you back so soon.
Just visiting at the moment.
Visiting? You've decided. Or did someone decide for you that you were just visiting? I told you that if you were to come back to the gates, that you were to be judged. I told you to never let me see you again unless you are ready to rest. Why are you here?
Kind of just gives her a shrug. Helping a boy stay alive.
No, I'm afraid not. I think it's the other way around. That a boy is helping you stay alive. All that ties you to the mortal coil was a rock. You were tasked with shaping that stone. And because you did not, you've perished. You are no more. You have died. And with you, the legacy of Helm. That's right. Helm. I remember Helm. Though we never got along, my brother and I. Well, we argued like siblings. Because we were. Helm is not remembered because Helm no longer has followers. A dead god is just that, dead. And you took his legacy to the grave. But someone still believes in you. And that disgusts me. Because someone believes in you, Helm's legacy still lives on. And you disrupt the balance, Ulhime. You are destined to be judged, And this boy that you believe that you're living to save has saved you. He wrought his soul defending Helm's legacy. He spread blood over Helm's throne. See, I went to visit him. I went to visit him after our last meeting, and he lay crying. He was cold, alone, and you did this. You made a promise in the land of the living that you could not keep. That's what we gods are supposed to avoid. We should not make promises. We only stick to truths. This is why I judge people. This is why you failed, Ulhime. And now, your destiny remains in his hands. See, I have a heart, and I could not fathom seeing someone quelled because of your insolence, even if you are touched by the divine. It's funny. So I left with him a prize. I plucked my tooth for defense, because I knew in that point that his soul would be wrought, wrecked, and ravished. That the beings that creep between planes, where you are supposed to defend, O legacy of Helm, you would not be there to defend, and all that remained was you. And in his darkest of moments, he defended. He saved your throne from being claimed. He killed a serpent, an usurper, someone looking to claim your throne. Well, Helm's throne. And because of that, he remains a defender of grace. And because someone believes in Helm, your legacy lives on. You have tainted his soul by leaving him, and now I taint yours, as a constant reminder. Her hand whips like an odd tendril and lashes around your shoulder and arm, and as she clutches you, a burning sensation fills your person. And when she removes her hand, there is carved in the metal of your arm, your armor, the face of the boy. Stark horror paints anything that would be left of the innocence. She looks back to you and her head tilts. Every time he claims the soul of an usurper, he defends your grace. I leave you with this. How far will you allow his innocence to shatter? Will you find others to decadently fight your battles? Will people believe in Helm once again? Will you stand for what's right? Or will you lie judged? I'd like an answer the next time I see you, because you may just be entering my boneyard before you know.
I won't need to wait to give you an answer. I can give you one now.
I didn't ask for it now. And you should be reminded that you're in my house. Her jaw sinks to her chest, and waves of sound, like it's multiple beings, speak to you. And for a brief moment, a twinge of terror fills you. Her tendril-like hands touch your chest, and with a shove, You remove yourself from the boneyard. The figures that were draped before you in a line, standing, lying in wait to be judged, are no more. Your vision clears. You walk again in the mortal realm, but where you step, you leave no trace, Ulhime. You're a figure, lying in wait. What you see before you is Cort. He's lying in a building, clutching onto your stone like a mother would her babe. An infant holding on to the only thing that keeps them warm and safe. And you had never seen Cort like this, nor did you expect to see this. Klaus is gone. Thelsa is gone. And your demonic friend, the heedless Dawnbringer, is also gone. Cort does not notice you. He doesn't sense your person. He doesn't understand your being. But you're there. Give me perception, Ulhime. You glance over to this thing that he's holding, and it's your oar. It's this thing that you realize you must make whole, or you'll return and condemn the innocence of a boy eternally. It's all that remains in Helm's legacy. You can see your face in the oar itself, and it's there that you realize what this means. You've heard, Ulhime, you've heard of beings that can manifest themselves back into the mortal coil if they have an anchor. The anchor seems to be deigned something different every time, but in this world, in this time, it's been popularly called a phylactery. Maybe you know it as a phylactery, maybe you do not. But as of this moment, you're convinced that a phylactery is what's held by Cort at this moment. What do you do, Ulhime? I'm curious.
Seeing him distraught wouldn't be a good feeling for him. Ulhime would take his gauntlet, and just like he did with Jimothy, he would, in a sense, like, engrave the symbol of Helm onto Cort's hand.
Cort, give me perception. Never the wiser. He notices nothing. Jakob! We're gonna go back to you.
Yay! Everybody loves Jakob.
I see how it is.
You'll get your time. You'll get
Fuck
your
Klaus.
time. Oh, goodness. You'll get your time. Jakob!
Yay! What up?
You have meandered through the church, looking for anything. Absolutely anything. Sure, you found some various low-quality, quote-unquote, relics. Some things that they had prize or praised for. But nothing really leaps out at you as to why Ouijas would attempt to quell the threat that is Paylor. Paylor is really but a shadow of what it once was. Their church temple is 3-4 times smaller. It's not multi-tiered like Ouija's. It casts no shadow. And there are clearly no churchgoers here.
Well, if I'm fairly confident that there's no information to be gleaned from this temple, then I'd probably start making my way out.
Okay. Okay, sounds good.
Yeah, I would go ahead and, of course, keep hold of the keys, but slip on out, leave the door open, slip across the street, and, just perform a ghost sound of a scream in the temple to try and garner attention, because I want somebody to be, I want somebody to find the scene that was left behind. And I'm really, really hoping somebody's going to go ahead and blame the Temple of Ouijas for that.
It's actually interesting that you say that, Jacob. As you begin to exit the building, you lock up the first set of doors, and when you grab onto the second set of doors, you're stopped. You're not just stopped, Jacob. Your body is thrown into the wall. When you suddenly realize what exactly has happened, you feel a halberd levied to your chest. And when you glean down and you see its tip just sink enough into the leather to really concern you, you follow it up to its wielder, and there is Kiana Green. A particular second in command that never quite liked you.
So wait, she's been in the church this entire time?
No, you literally just stated that you were leaving.
Right.
You went to the second doors, you locked up the first, and as you're walking out, she's caught you.
Okay.
What do? You can see that the muscles in her jaw tightens. And you can see, as well, that her knuckles grow wider and wider with every passing moment, as she thinks of just skewering you right here.
Well, this is surprisingly good timing. What in the name of blazes brings you here? Oh, sorry.
I had a certain burn in my ear. You wouldn't believe the things that I hear on the wind in this town. And lo and behold, I follow up, and upon my arrival I see what looks to be... What, a priest now? Is this a title that you were claiming? Because you happen to have the keys to a church. Unless you've done something a bit more sinister. Something along the lines of your heritage.
Oh, Christ. This again? No. I've not done anything sinister. But somebody has. At which point, he will go ahead and hold the keys out, drop them at her feet. There are 2 dead bodies inside.
I bet there are. And you didn't have anything to do with either of them, did you?
Nope. Stumbled on both of them.
That's a bluff. That's a hard bluff.
No. Stumbled on both of them. Absolutely 100% true.
I'm calling your bluff as a dungeon master, knowing exactly how it happened. She is not going to buy it unless you succeed in a bluff check. Give me a roll.
She wouldn't go ahead and accept anything I say, but okay. 21.
That's pretty good. Let's see. Okay. What happened in there then?
Your guess is as good as mine. As for what I came in on, I found an open door. We had actually met. Oh, God, I can't even remember his name, and it's not in our notes. And nobody's tuned in. We'd met the priest earlier to go ahead and get information on the Church of Ouijas.
Correct.
Well, lo and behold, we return. I find the door open. I slip inside to investigate, and there's a dead body on the floor with a knife in its chest. And the priest has been stabbed more times than I can count, and that's pretty high. Now, I was just stepping out because might want to go ahead and let Skellering know.
So you collected his keys, then?
Yes, because I plan to lock the door.
Right. And you just happened to walk upon 2 bodies. Well, let's take a look, shall we? I'd like to see this myself first. Nothing personal, of course, but I think he will buy it from me sooner than he'll buy it from you.
Good point. The last time we had a conversation, that didn't exactly end well. All right. At which point he'll just go ahead and lift his hands, sidle aside to the door, and lead the way.
Okay.
He will open.
She takes the end of the halberd and she flinches the end of it into the ring of the keys and knocks it back up to you. Lead on.
All right, he'll step inside and into the main church, at which point he will just kind of stand aside and gesture awide.
She steps inside and she walks over to Kristoff. Seeing the wounds, she looks back to you. There's a slight shake in her head. And then she moves over to the other person, the boy. So your guess is that he plunged the dagger into himself?
I'm not an investigator. But as far as my involvement, at which point he's going to just kind of open his cape and display that he's not carrying any sort of sheath for a knife. And I am not a member of the Temple of Ouijas. I would imagine that you should probably go ahead and
Jakob,
speak.
She looks to you and she says, "You're not a member of the Temple of Ouijas, yet you're wearing their robes."
No. Remember, he fashioned a cloak out of it. He just tore it up.
Which still prominently dictates the colors of Ouijas. Your robes borderline match his, with an exception of the fact that yours is cut open down the center.
Oh, all right, that wasn't at all my intention, but let's go ahead and figure it out. Oh, all right.
I'm just trying to understand here why a boy would kill himself. His life still so long.
I don't believe he killed himself, if I had to guess. I met that boy earlier tonight in the Temple of Ouijas. See, we're investigating... And again, I can't go ahead and remember their names. Jesus Christ.
I need you to give me a will save.
Oh, joy.
Okay.
Pretty good will save.
Yeah, that's pretty good. You realize when you begin to speak that your mouth stutters. You stumble over the things that you're trying to say. Give me a knowledge arcana. I know you've got that.
Oh, I got that hella. And that hasn't updated, but...
Very good. And give me a perception. Very good.
Holy shit, I'm on fire!
Yeah, you're killing it tonight. Jakob, the moment that you begin to say this, you realize that your mouth is just... It's like chunkily responding, like it's not delivering any of the precise vowels. The syllables are coming out very oddly, and it really doesn't make a lot of sense to you. And you notice that there's some kind of aura, an emanation, borderline, that encircles you. And when you kind of glance back behind her, it seems like there's almost a wall. Similarly, you immediately realize that there's something odd about this. You stand within a zone of truth. And though you have managed to surpass and save against it, your lie comes out befuddled, like you've got marbles in your mouth.
Save that I didn't lie. I did meet this boy earlier tonight in the Temple of Ouijas.
Okay.
And we were about to go ahead and go into an explanation as to why we were there. Because we are investigating the gentleman whose name I can't remember.
So you had nothing to do at all with this boy's death. She side-eyes you, head tilted, in question like a hound. It's then that you notice, Jacob. Her eyes are a different color.
Her eyes are a different color than what hers normally is.
Oh yeah, Kiana Green happens to have very vivid green eyes, and right now, they're like black orbs, like a demon.
Oh, son of a biff.
Do you turn immediately, trying to exit the zone of truth? Do you hold your tongue? What do you do?
Oh, God. I'm trying to go ahead and figure out just what kind of juice he still has, but no, he'd go ahead and try and de-ass the area. So yeah, he'd try and go ahead and leave.
Okay, all right. So you're just going to make a break for it?
Yeah, make a break for it.
All right. All right. It's convenient that you were close enough to the door, as is. And the moment that you turn to Whitetail, you bolt out, and she follows after you. It is convenient, though, that you're faster than she is. She's wearing heavy armor. She's slow. You're going to cover ground much faster than she will. Where do you go?
Oh, Christ. That is a real good question. Because if I'm booking it, like, how far am I outstripping her speed-wise? Like, is it pretty clear that there is no way she's going to...
Mechanically, she's covering 40 feet and around. You are covering 60. You're at least a third faster than she is.
Yeah. And I think what I would end up doing is... Shit. Trying to think of where Jacob would actually run to for cover.
Honestly, it's if Jacob happens to have any more spellcasts of invisibility, I can't presume he runs that far.
No, I don't think he... No, he only has... he was only able to go ahead and recover one invisibility.
Okay.
And as far as the greater invisibility, unless you guys are saying that I'm able to go ahead and keep that spell slot after the clusterfuck of last night, or last week.
No, when you were rezzed, you were returned full rested.
Oh, returned full rested? So
yes.
I got all my spell slots?
All of your spell slots back.
Hot damn.
Yeah.
Well, that certainly changes things.
I imagined.
All right, no, if we're going ahead and running away from her, I'd probably end up ducking into an alley, casting fly, and taking to the rooftops. After leading her well away.
Okay. Okay,
so I
that's
can
fine.
double back and try and get back to Cort.
You've got it. You cover the distance. Probably after 4 or 5 rounds, you realize you're very far ahead of her. You commit to the spell, the verbal and somatic components, and you take to flight. You fly into the dippings of various parts of roofs and find your way very hidden. She's expecting you to be on the streets. You do hear her cursing, yelling out loud in anger. You also realize that you've just lied to the second in command of the guard. It will make its way back to Jared, and we all know how your interactions with Jared go.
Yeah, I juked a bitch. But I don't trust that black eye business. Nah. No, Miss Green. I don't think that's Miss Green.
Okay, that's fair. Doesn't trust a woman with dark eyes. Yet, you walk around with a human leg and a demon's body. This is totally fine.
Still not my choice.
This is good. Okay.
And truth told, that should have been fixed too. But hey, we're not going there.
Honestly, it's kind of like when you get pulled over by an undercover cop and you look at their badge and it has like a state that's like 12 states away.
No, it's like looking at an undercover cop and their
right.
badge is drawn in with crayon.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Okay.
Already he's thinking that if Miss Green is not who she says he is, he's not exactly going to trust Jared, considering that Jared wasn't able to go ahead and offer any kind of assistance back in the offices anyway. Does he believe Jared is who he says he is? One can only be so stupid. That, you know, if he were doing an impersonation, he's just doing a really, really good job. But yeah, he would definitely try and return to Cort and recover, because shit's getting fucked up.
And this is where I'm going to pass this story over to our friend, Klaus. Klaus is currently...
You said our friend, and I definitely thought it wasn't going to be me.
Well, you're still a friend.
And we're going to go move on to that person we haven't talked to all night, and Ronald. All right, let's start with you.
All right, friend.
It would be great.
Klaus.
Yee.
Boyo. You have no memory of your time while you're dead, or when you're without body. It's interesting enough, because your body still shifts. It continues to move. That's something that Jakob actually saw, was that despite this black tinge, this makeup in your bolt, you actually moved, this time a significant amount. Visibly before him, if he had watched, you were shifting. And while he dimension doored outside, your bolt continued to move. Down the stairs, circling around, just down the middle of everything, you continued to shift. Until you make your way to the base of the Temple of Ouijas, and your bolt straight through the temple's, not open door, but the temple's newfound portal. To Occipitus you go. It's your home, after all. You are technically the rightful owner with the smoking eye. Well, friend, your body, your bolt, moves onwardly so. It continues. It whips as it interacts with various hell beasts that come into contact with it. One even tries to eat you, which you fry immediately. Some of the lesser intelligent creatures don't recognize you as the owner of the 507th layer of the Abyss. Eventually, your body makes its way into a crevasse. It slips through a forest of bone. Ossicle demons watch you. Some of the very similar bone devils that you had just encountered. Some of them know what you are. They know the threat that you pose. but they don't know where you go. And when your bolt disappears into a lump, a bit of cave that was hidden, unless you knew what you were looking for, you had no idea that it was even there. It continues to shift and writhe in a circular pattern down this tunnel, which opens up into a cave. A cave of flesh. It seems to still bleed from the impact of the fall of a dragon. There are bones everywhere. There's a cage that once occupied the mind of a savant, some kind of seer of sorts. And a door. This door seems like borderline a welcome flag. And your body seems to shift directly to it. It dances, moving to and fro. But it seems to ever continue moving forward to the door. And where the others struggled, they couldn't even touch the door without seeing some kind of substance attack them. As your body shifts, you feel like you're at home. Not just at home like, this is nice. Kick your shoes up. Put your feet upward. Relax yourself. No, this feels like home in the sense of borderline the womb. And as you pass through these doors, everything falls dark for a moment. And you hear it. You hear a voice. You hear its breath. You feel its breath. This ruddered breathing seems to emanate the entire chamber. You hear it. It's lupine sound. You've seen this before. You've witnessed it. You've experienced it. At least your body did. A memory comes fleeting back immediately of 5 figures committing to a blood ritual to seal something here. Something powerful. Something so powerful that it was guarded by a black dragon and his seer. The growl descends down into this rolling timbre of air blows past your bolt.
Brother. Brother.
This archaic sound that attempts to emulate common tone.
I have waited for so long. Have you come to be devoured by the first spark?
Do you answer?
I've come, but I don't know why.
You are different. You are king here. You rule this plane. Brother, free me.
The last time you were free, the world as we know it nearly ended.
The world's in terrible trouble without me. What worse can I do?
I can think of a few things, and I'm sure you can as well. Captivity has its advantages, after all.
When you say that, you hear the angry snort, this, and wind blows across the chamber again.
Just feed me. I'm hungry. I've not tasted flesh in so long. We were born of the same. Mother gave us this gift, yet you walk free. Second spark. Why not me? Why am I punished?
You made the wrong choices.
Wrong choices. Who guided us? Who left you to walk free?
You know their names.
Why? Why them? And why do you reek of his scent now?
I've just spent a significant amount of time getting, let's say, closer to Spellmason.
Spellmason lives.
Only because I allowed it.
You've assumed your place. You walk the mortal plane. Is it nice having the sun kiss your skin? Is it delicious feeling the wind through your hair?
These are pleasures I won't grant you.
In due time, you'll need me. Something more sinister walks the land. I feel it. Even 500 layers tucked beneath your footfall. I feel it.
It's true, there are evils that have been least upon the world, but it's nothing that can't be handled.
In due time, if their bodies are found, I'll be freed by you or one of their kin. They'll mean well. They will.
You won't see the light of day again while I'm still standing.
And what makes you so certain?
Because it's something that I have control over. You said it yourself. I rule this land. Who comes and goes is at my beck and will.
You can tell that he doesn't like this. There's another gust of wind, and his voice grows.
I have more power than your friends, than even you have. Wait, when my time comes again, and it will, I'll chew through you, claiming your smoking eye. I will dominate the lands again as first spark, as I ate all of our brothers and sisters. You are all that remains, and I'll feast on you yet second born.
Your power means nothing in here, and I'll see to it that it stays that way.
Good luck, boy. You'll need it. For when I walk your lands, your precious volcano will be my home. And I will control it, and no dragon, man, spark, or demon will confine me. Be gone. I grow tired of you. Leave me to this cage.
Gladly.
Said twists as he places a paw over the other and lays his head back down. Klaus, you feel stuck. You're not necessarily sure if the smoking eye was a gift or a curse. Though you've just seen to a threat that has summoned you. I need a will save. Very good. I set the DC at 20. You're able to resist the notion. Your body feels compelled to intertwine with that of this great hound. But you resist. You feel the pangs of familiarity. For what it is, you've come from the same location, from the same home, from the same womb. You leave the way that you've come. And your body flutters, dancing on the wind like a dervish. You make your way up a hill, then a mountain of bone, up more flesh, before you find a set of stairs. You eventually enter into a fallen building. You've been here before. This is a pretty important place, as honestly it's regarded as the location that started all of this fall, that started the end of Celestia, as you know it, that blended these two locations, these two realms together. This is the Cathedral of Feathers, the last place that Helm was ever seen. And it's here that you remain. For how long? It's yet to be determined. We're going to take a brief break. I'd like for you guys to come up with some things. Think for me, if you will, what it is that you would like to do in your downtime. We're going to take a brief break. I'm going to go get a new water. I'm going to hug my lovelies and bio. I recommend that you guys do the same. When we return, maybe we'll have something different happening. Maybe we'll discover that Jacob's found his way back to his friends and not been detained by Kiana Green and the guard captain. Maybe Cort will see Ulhime. Maybe Ulhime will find a way to communicate back. And perhaps Klaus could find a body. To be determined. We'll be back in just a minute, guys. Behave. We'll see you in a moment.